Welcome to Your Fit Story TV, the only platform that is focused on storytelling and personal branding for fit pros. Our mission is to provide fitness professionals that are trying to build and scale their business with valuable insights into how others have done it by sharing their fit story.
100%.
Love
and today, we have an incredible guest for you. Someone actually that we've been trying to get booked on this for a little bit now. But we are also completely aware of just how much this person's business has blown up over the last year. And so we respect that, you know, Morg, that you've been able to take some time out today for this episode. We appreciate you.
Thank you. I'm super excited to be here.
Epic. So essentially what we want to dive into very, very first and foremost, right, is obviously the structure. Anybody that's new to watching these episodes, just kind of give you a bit of an overview. We are going to dive into Morg's fit story, right? So the story of her life that involves all of the things that she's done to be the person who she is today as a business mentor. So she's no longer an online coach herself. Well, you actually still are, aren't you? Still an online coach yourself because you do Stronger Bodies, right? So
yeah.
It's like technically still your thing. So we want to dive into all of that to give you guys just as many key insights into this person's life and their journey and their fit story as we possibly can. So Morg, again, thank you so much for being here. And we just want to dive off with one simple, easy question. What was life like for you way before fitness became a thing? So before you even dived into fitness, before it was even on your radar, what was your story like before that?
Oh, that's a good question. I was a very your normal girl who had like a huge girl pack of friends. We always went out on the weekends. We drank lots of booze. I loved country music, went to the country bar. Yeah, it was just like, I never went to the gym really. It was not really a thing. I had very bad eating habits, like Mr. Noodles all the time, chicken noodle soup and crackers. Like that's literally was my university food that I love to eat.
Sounds like a prison diet.
It was, I was just like, I was hustling. Oh, I was a bottle service girl. Like I had like lots of good friends that we just partied all the time. That's what I smoked cigarettes, just, normal university kid.
So I'm interested to know where are you actually from? Like, where was you born, and where was you? Because I know you've said about this country girl thing a couple times now. So
no, I'm actually not from the country. I'm from Toronto. So I'm from like a big city in Canada, and but I don't know. I went to school kind of a little bit outside of Toronto, and I just fell in love with country, and I always wanted to live in the country. So I just bought my first house in the country for that reason. I don't connect really. I know.
Yeah. Congratulations on that as well. And
Thank
that's
you.
all as a result of you just blowing your business up, right? And we're going to get into some of that. So that's massively inspiring, by the way, for a lot of people out there. So we're definitely going to want to dive into that. So this backstory, I really want to try and dig into some more of the bones of it, right?
When I was like a baby.
Well, no, the thing is what was it like in the first 2 months? No, but for real, right? Because I can actually relate to, aside from having the girl pack of friends, I can relate to that experience, because that's pretty much what my life was like pre-teenage and even the teenager was. I was just very heavily influenced by the circle of friends that I was in, and I was drinking, taking loads of fucking drugs. Like I did that stuff. So I'm interested to know how you kind of, because that's like an identity itself, isn't it? You know, that identity that we are in, that's an identity in itself. And for us to shift that identity, something has to happen. Some sort of catalyst to change has to happen for us to be able to shift from being abusing our body with drink or alcohol or drugs or whatever it is, to becoming fit and healthy and living life abundantly through the actions that we take in our physical fitness and stuff. So I'm just interested to dive a little bit deeper into kind of like yourself as someone who was in this prior identity to transitioning to make yourself a better person. So in terms of the backstory, like, can you just be a bit more specific around kind of the transition that you made. So from being the person who went out a lot with the girls, I bet you still do that now. In fact, you do still do that now, because I saw you on your Instagram story. You went to visit with a friend. But what was that transition like for you, and how did that come around?
That's a really good question. And I think that it comes down to, I grew up, my household at home is I have great parents, I have a great family, but my sister struggles really hard with a lot of mental health issues, eating disorders, like every single one. And I feel that because she struggled so hard with loving herself, feeling like she was never good enough, I became obsessed with the idea of self-development, being strong, being someone that was completely opposite of the way she felt. So from a very young age, I started to become not connected to food, not connected to the idea of being leaner and skinnier. And eventually just got to a point with my friends where it was I have to break free from this to continue to develop and be that person that really stands out, as because when you're with a girl pack and you're just always doing what other people are doing, you're not really truly being who you want to be. So I, continue to see my sister just suffer and feel judged and want to change her body and continue to abuse herself because of the girls, the way society was portraying how girls should look. So I was like, I want to be a leader in the space for women to feel accepted and beautiful and strong. And so when I came out of university, I was really lost at what I wanted to do. I was a nanny for a long time. And then I was I became I was continuing down this obsession of I want to be mentally strong. I'm mentally strong because my sister's very, very weak. So to me, that was okay, where do I find the answer? I Google search. So I literally Google search mentally, how to become mentally strong. And it was all these competitions came up. One of them was Ironman. And then it was Ironman or marathon. And then a marathon, it was that was hard, but Ironman was it's going to be the most grueling, life-changing thing you'll ever go through. And I was cool. Went to Chapters, which is a bookstore where I live, and read a triathlon book. I marked the first page, today you change your life. I signed it 2015. And then I learned all about triathlon. I knew nothing. I didn't even know how to ride a bike with clip-on shoes before. And I just went for it. And it was totally the thing that changed absolutely everything for me. And it also became sort of also my escape from everything that was going on in my house, because when you live with someone who has an eating disorder, it creates a lot of turmoil in the family, because the one child gets so much attention, the other child doesn't. That was my relationship with my parents for a long time. It's totally changed now. But my sister's also older than me, so the little sister becomes the big sister, and it's that shift with your sibling. And then there's the whole experience of not allowed to have food in your fridge for the whole family because the one person can't handle the food in the fridge, and locking food downstairs because we don't want to have any triggers around. So it was it was kind of crazy for a bit. So Ironman was this weird escape where I could go on the bike for 6 hours and just not think and just be and envision something greater for myself. And
you see, I think that fitness, I just want to touch on a couple of things that you said there, because it's super powerful. So the first one was that you looked for something that was mentally tough, that mental challenge. And a lot of the times people don't, and I'm so glad that the Google search came up with physical stuff, because a lot of the times people don't draw those comparisons between understanding that to be physically strong, you have to be mentally tough. like a lot of the situations we put ourselves in, whether that's on our fitness journey or if it's something a bit more extreme like Ironman or something different, like that requires a fucking deep level of mental fortitude. Like you've got to be tough as nails to go through that stuff. And I think that people just don't draw that comparison. So I'm glad that you brought that up. And then the second one was around how it kind of, the Ironman thing grounded you. It kind of gave you something to work on, right? So when you don't have that, when that's absent from your life, I think that it actually frees up more room for the negative stuff and toxic stuff. And like like, for example, with your sister with the eating disorder, it frees up all of that space. Whereas when you focus and apply your time, your energy, you focus into fitness or health, it just fucking consumes you, right? And it gives you so much to focus on, so much positive stuff to focus on. So I'm really glad that you pulled that bit up.
Yeah, it gives you a purpose. It gives you a purpose. The one thing that I really see with people who struggle, with whatever they're struggling with, a lot of them just don't have that purpose or like that responsibility, you know? Even if it's like self-made responsibility, I feel like it's so important to have that responsibility. Like,
I completely agree. So because obviously Ironman is fucking hard. That's not like an easy thing to go and do. What possessed you? I mean, obviously you had a lot of motivating factors behind you, what you just explained, but I mean, that takes a certain degree of just craziness to just be like, I'm going to go and fucking do this. Like I could have done this, this, and this, and this, but I'm going to go and do an Ironman event. So did you just do that off the straight up, or was there sort of stepping stones that you took before doing that Ironman?
No, it was pretty just like, it was a year and a half until I won the world championship, like until I won my race and went to the world championships. So like, but like that year and a half, I think it was, so I trained like 6 months for my first half Ironman and I did really shit, but I was still like obsessed with the community. I was obsessed with like having this really intense goal and like being crazy. The Ironman community is crazy. They pride themselves on waking up at 4 a.m. and like running fucking a marathon a day. And I was just so for it. I was just like sick. Like there was all these memes about like, we don't go out with our friends anymore. Like, yeah, like we're crazy. Like when people at work ask us to go for drinks, we don't. And I was just like, whoa, like I love this community. Like this is sick. I had never, at that point in my life, I had never met people that were like just going for bigger and better. And this was like my first kind of insight into like different communities. And so did my first race. It was really shit, but I decided to sign up for another one. And then I actually won the next one. And I was like, wow, I think I'm really fucking good at this. So let's try to go all in. And like I hired a pro coach, and midway through a season, she's like, I think you're going to win. Cause like you can see everyone's stats, you can see how they're doing, you can follow them on social media and stuff. Right. So we had like an inside look, and I knew there was like people that I had to beat. One was in Montreal and another one was somewhere else in the world. But like, she was like, I think you have a really good chance. Like, you're for sure going to be top 3. Like, I think we should just go for it. And then at that point, it was just like zero communication. All balance was lost. And I just went full fucking for it. And I won.
I find that incredibly, it's incredible. And the reason is that it's so far, like you said, that contrast between, you had your girl pack previously, and that's a community. Right. And we all have like our little circle of influence, our circle of friends, and that's like our little community. And to step outside of that is a big deal, and it's in the first place. But to step outside of that to that degree and be that uncomfortable and doing something else requires just a certain level of mental fortitude, I guess, and being a bit crazy. Like it is, it's some of the things that I've done in fitness are a bit fucking crazy, you know, like you know, like I don't do it anymore, but when I was bodybuilding, I was able to put 135 pound on the bar and then squat 100 reps in one set. 100 reps in one set. So like I would break pause at the top to allow myself to breathe as much as I could, and then I would squat again, and I would do that until I was reduced to singles. Yeah, like even if it was 70, I hit singles at 70, I would just do them in one squat and just come back up for breaths and then go back down. So I'm not the same person as I mentally was back then. Because
Right.
now I would look at that and be like, what the fuck, man? So it's just incredible. Like, I think that these big leaps into uncomfortability is just so is so important for people. But based on your experience from doing it yourself, what advice would you give to somebody who may be in a place right now where they do feel quite comfortable with the surroundings, whether this is in the business or personal life?
Yeah.
What advice would you give to that person to like really make the jump and do something outside of the box?
Just like, you don't know what you don't know. So like, if you're in your life and you're going through the same motions, like there's so much more. Like, if you really want to redefine yourself or change yourself or just spark something different inside of your heart, just try something new, meet new people. Like, the world is so big. And I was very, like, I don't know, just a very comfortable kid. Like, I didn't really travel a lot. Like, everything was kind of the same, like a cool upbringing, but it was just, you don't know what you don't know. So once I started to just do all these other things, I was like mind blown about how big the world is and how many opportunities there was. And yeah, I would just say, just try different things.
It's a fear of the unknown, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I just, for me, I'm obsessed with change. I fucking love change. I support it. I hate labels on people like, Morgan, you're the Ironman. I'm like, no, I'm not. Don't define me. I'm going to be all these other fucking things. And you're just going to have to watch me be all those things. So I'm like a huge fan of people being labelless, and like, change is good. Like, people who don't change, I feel sorry for those people. I honestly do. I'm like, that's not a cool, fun life.
Do you know what? I actually support this. I'm so glad that you brought that up, because I remember I've had it in a couple times in my life. I guess most recently was probably a couple years ago when I broke up with my partner, and we split up due to some other shit I won't go into now. But essentially, when we were kind of trying to fix it and get back together, I remember she said this to me in the car once, right? This was like during our time of kind of getting ourselves back together, and she said, "You've changed." And I went, "Fucking right, I've changed, and I'm glad that I've changed." I said, and if you can't cope with it, if you don't like it, then I will never force you to stay. But I have fucking changed. And the fact that you've noticed it is a thumbs up, because that's what I was intended to do, was change. Like, I wasn't happy where I was. So I'm so glad that you brought that up. I think that's going to be massively relevant to so many fucking people on here.
What I want to know, Morgs, is when you go through Ironman, and you was going through it, and then you was in that position, right, where the person said to you, you got a chance, you're in the top 3, you got a chance of winning, right? And then you made that decision to go balls deep and go all the way in. I want to know, what did you learn about yourself when you made that transition to go all in and to drop everything and claim that title? What did you learn about yourself and about your character?
I actually learned that I can do whatever I want in my life. And it was actually the most like powerful thing, that like Ironman literally taught me that I can do whatever the fuck I want in my life, and nothing else, not even business stuff that happens at like relationship, friendships, anything, any other experience in my life has never affected me the way that Ironman affected me. Like, I can make a goal in my business and hit it and be like, great. It was literally Ironman that made me believe that I am like actually unbreakable and I can do whatever I want. And I deeply, deeply believe that. It's not like I just say that and I like don't actually, like, I know that if I'm so passionate about something, I will get it. And that's it, because determination and perseverance is the only thing that you need. And I tell my clients that, I tell like friends that, and it's hard to just say it and really feel that. But I mean, it's true. Like, I went through it. I didn't even like know how to like ride a bike with pedals, you know, a year and a half. And then I just like tried really, really hard and did everything that the books were telling me to do. And then some, you know, like I did also learn that I lose complete balance when I go 110% in, but like to be the best, you have to be crazy. And that was okay for that point in my life. I was just accepting that this was going to be a little bit fucked up. I was going to be kind of crazy, not see the world. And that was going to be my normal for a little bit. After after that, you know, I dealt with the repercussions of literally coming out of a fitness hole and being like, wow, the world just went on for 2 years. And who am I now? Because I've been identifying with fitness for so long. But it also taught me all those other amazing things about myself. And like, I would, when I finished Ironman, I was like the most depressed I'd ever been in my entire life because I got the title of my dreams. But it was something like when I would wake up and at 4 a.m. every day, I was just like, this is for potentially being able to cross the finish line in Hawaii. Like, wow, if you could win and if you could go to Hawaii, that'd be amazing. And then you get it. And then I was like, this isn't as good as it felt in my head. And I don't know who I am now because it's done and what's next. And like, who is Morgan without Ironman? And that's why I became so obsessed with like the whole label thing or whatever, is because that was my label. I was like in articles, people were obsessed, like they followed the journey. They, you know, people really loved me for that. And it gave me a lot of attention, and it was really scary to be like, peace out, Ironman. I sold everything, came home from Hawaii, sold everything, threw it in a closet, all the stuff that I couldn't sell, never looked at it again. I was just like, I don't even want to believe that was me. I don't even know who I am. I don't know what job to get. I'm broke. I spent all my money going to Hawaii and buying bike parts, which bikes are like $10,000.
I love it.
So I was really, really sad for a long time after Ironman.
And through that period after, how did you feel like there was a hole that wasn't filled? Every morning you wake up, you didn't have there. You just fell out of alignment with who you was. Would you say? Was you lost? Is what I'm trying to find out.
Oh, yeah, I was super lost. I didn't know what to identify with. I didn't know who I was. I wrote blog posts on blog posts about trying to find myself because I was really into blogging when I was doing my journey, because like I made it a whole thing, like follow me for 365 days and I'm going to go win this race. And I did. And then it was over. And then it was like this epic journey story. Like it was really magical for people that were following along, I can imagine, because it was like they literally saw me from like picking like, yay, I got my first bike, gonna go try this thing. And then it was like I actually went to Hawaii. So like, yeah, I fell in love with the journey as well too. I was like, this is fucking cool. But then it was like, hey guys, like the thing that I've been promoting for like 365 days and some, I don't actually like anymore. In fact, I actually hate it and I wish I never did it. And like now looking back, of course, I can appreciate what it was for me. But like at the time, that's actually how I felt, because I was like, I am so empty. Like I hate myself because I only was that. And then that was like the next kind of journey that I went on. That was all about like, wow, you are so much more than just one thing. You can be so much more than just like a girlfriend, a mom, a fitness person, but you can be all these other things and like never let anyone define you as the one thing.
Do you know, I want to say this because it's bringing up surfacing all sorts of memories for me from when I competed in bodybuilding, and that was seriously a case of fucking full immersion. Like people don't understand that, don't do it, and I think this is what you're in a way trying to say. Like people that don't experience it or never allow themselves to experience it will never know what it actually feels like to fully immerse yourself in something and actually do it and be there and see that as your reality. And for me, when I was competing, I went through the 7 weeks. Took me 7 weeks to get into shape for that show. Not because I chose to have 7 weeks, but because that, when I looked at the clock from the moment of committing, was all that I had. So most bodybuilders would compete maybe 12 to 16 weeks out and allow themselves enough time to kind of like reduce the body fat, keep the muscle, and be able to step on stage like in the best possible condition they can. Not only was it my first show, but I was also like, my habits were fucking shot. I was training, but I'm not bodybuilding. I was overweight and I just like wasn't healthy or anything like that. And by me immersing myself into that fucking bodybuilding show, those 7 weeks was some of the most grueling and intense weeks I've had. And it probably sounds pussy now compared to Ironman, but just as some context, I would wake up, because I had a job at the same time as obviously working. I was doing like 14-hour days driving a van. But I would wake up first thing in the morning, 3 days per week, and I would go at 4 a.m. and I would go for a cold water sea swim, because my mentor told me that if I want to do this and I want to get the results, I'm going to have to do what I don't want to do. Like, I'm going to have to be uncomfortable. And now I know on reflection, he wasn't doing all of this to try and get me into the best shape. He was trying to level up my mindset and bring like the mental fortitude that I needed to produce results in other areas of my life. Like my mentor was just like that. So for me, like doing those cold water sea swims, shivering my absolute nuts off in fucking freezing cold water, like going through those experiences, training two times per day for 7 weeks straight, eating a ketogenic diet, which I'd never ever done before, by the way, just like you, like never ridden a bike like this before, but I had never eaten keto before. And on the day I committed to do it, my coach said, from now on for 7 weeks, you are ketogenic. I was like, bro, what the fuck? I love carbs. He was like, look, if you want to do this, you're going in, you're going to do this, right? So from that point on, I was only eating high fat and protein. And it was just a completely different world. Like, you stepped into a completely different identity to achieve what you did. And I can relate to what you're saying on so many levels, because when I completed that bodybuilding show and I'd done it, I never won, which I should have, because if you look at the photos, guys, there's a bit of discrepancy. I definitely should have come top fucking 3. But essentially I'd done the show, and when I finished it and it was all over and it was done, I remember tucking into a donut and I was just like, it's finished? Is that it now?
Yeah.
Like, what do I do next? And then like and then I thought, because I'd saw other people still, like, they went off season now. Yeah. Like all the guys that done my bodybuilding show, they were all off season. And I was just following the crowd after that. I was like, yeah I must do an off season now, because they're all doing off seasons. That's what and I wasn't even following my heart or what I wanted to do. I was just doing it because I thought that's what I had to do. So I just relate to what you've just been saying very, very heavily. Like, I absolutely 100% know how that feeling of just feeling a bit lost and not really knowing what direction to take feels like, because I've been there. And I think a lot of people do go through that stuff as well. Thank you for being open and sharing that. Yeah,
it was definitely the hardest. I feel like I just wish there was a fucking book to teach me like how hard your 20s were going to be, because like I was not fucking prepared. Like, I was like, I'm like, Mom, why didn't you tell me? Like, fuck, this shit is hard to navigate and know what you really want. Maybe it's because social media is now involved and like there's just more opportunity, but like, man, like, I'm so glad I made it through. But like, those were definitely like the hardest years, like 20 to like 20, like 21 to 24, coming out of university, figuring that all, that was like the worst.
So you obviously went to uni, and I think I know what you did, but I don't want to say because it might be wrong. So just like kind of dragging it back to your story now from where you left off. You were at uni, right? What did you do at uni? Like, why did you choose to do what you did at uni, and what did you do at uni?
Okay, well, I actually was a communications major, so I learned, like, honestly, I don't even know what the fuck I learned. It was a big full 4 years of wasted time. I learned everything after when I went back to school, but in university, it was like theory about the communication that we use in our lives. Like, honestly, it was like marketing pretty much, but it was totally not relevant to anything that was actually going on in the space. And that's probably why I was kind of a little bit lost, like what career to get, because it was like, I don't even know what I just learned. I learned how to learn. That's pretty much it. And but I went back to school after Ironman. So right out of university, communications major, didn't even want to go to graduation, was like, I don't feel anything. I don't feel connected at all to my schooling. I'm not proud of myself. I just did it. Great. Got honors. Bye. And then I got my, Ironman was really my school. Ironman was full blown my school. And when I won, I got my dad to put my medals with my degree in a plaque, because I just got my degree like mailed to me. I was like, I don't even want to go to fucking graduation. Fuck this. That was a waste of time. So, but then 2 years went by and I got like everything put in a plaque with my 2 medals, my winning one, and then my Kona one, which was Hawaii, and my degree. And I was like, now I feel like complete. I can celebrate. I'm done. I've like grown up, onto the next chapter. And then I went back to school for the real thing that kind of like elevated me, which was user experience design, which is, you know, understanding human digital interaction, how people, what triggers people online, user research, user interface design. So I designed apps and websites. And I went to like, it was like a boot camp for only 10 weeks. It was like really intensive. Like you couldn't have anything else going on in your life. Did that. I came out Hall of Fame, and I felt, member from Ironman, I felt really dumb, stupid, didn't have a purpose. I was like, I'm broke. I'm not smart. What did I learn in university? And then I came out with like on the Hall of Fame for like my website design. And I was like, wow, like I'm actually kind of smart, and it felt really good. So that was like the next kind of journey I went on. Like I got a corporate job. I felt like this corporate boss babe who had like her Ironman. And I was like, I am like doing this. This is cool. You know, I'm so multifaceted. Like no one can catch me. And then, yeah, that's kind of like, that's what it was. It was really UX UI that changed, like, then that was the next huge thing that changed a lot of things for me.
So you almost found as if you did find yourself again in that period then. It was like,
oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think a lot of people, I was just going to say, I think a lot of people find themselves lost for too long, don't they? Because it fucking, once you're lost, it's hard to find the way out. And like, I'm interested to know, why did you, out of all the things you could have done, why did you choose to go back to do what you did with, why did you choose to do that? Could have done millions of other things, right?
Well, I think I, again, looked on Google. And
Google has the answers for everything.
Google has answers for a lot of things. No, but I just like when people are lost for like what to do next, like I'm genuinely like, I think you just need to go and look at what's out there and read job descriptions. It's so simple, but like reading job descriptions and be very open-minded. Like I was looking up like nursing to like teaching to like being a financial advisor. Like I was just like very open-mindedly, with a very open mind, looking at everything and seeing what kind of tweaked. And my whole life I've been very quick with technology. I like love technology. I understand it very well. Like I wanted maybe to go into computer science, but I'm like, I don't think I'm smart enough for that. But like, it was this like concept of, wow, if I could like really design websites and be in that technology space without having to be like going to computer science, like computer engineering degree. I was like, that is so fascinating to me. Like, that's what I would want to do. Like, oh my God, I found this course, started to read about it. And it was like, it's just 10 weeks and you can get X, Y, and Z jobs out of this course. And I was like, whoa, like, and then within like, I read it the next day, I went to the school and then they're like, yeah, it's $10,000. And I was like, Mom, I want to go to the school. And then my mom came to like the school and she's like, yep, this is Morgan. This is so Morgan. Like she needs to be here. This is what my daughter needs. Like whatever. Put the money down for me. Actually, originally I had to like pay her back, but then she like realized it changed my life, and she's like, "I'll pay for it."
Oh,
like,
bless her. That's nice.
Yeah, but I know. And then, so yeah, that's pretty much it. I just like I connected to it. I was like, it was so cool that I could get into that tech space because, as we all know, like that's where the world is going. And I always longed to be in it, in that cool digital space, and like, you know, have all these like cool coding stickers on my computer. And I was always fascinated with that idea again because like I don't seem like that girl. I'm like, you know, I had blonde short hair and like I would never identified with like being a designer or like some cool creative. And I was like, I kind of like that. I kind of like the identity shift, how like the girl in the pretty dress could be like this like mastermind on her computer.
Yeah. That's
you
so
know what
fucking
I mean?
cool. I love it.
Yeah.
That is fucking dope. That is so sick. I think like for a lot of people that's the part of the problem though, is it sounds like you guided yourself to that solution. Do you see what I'm saying? Whereas a lot of people feel guided by something or someone to make a certain decision. Do you see what I'm saying? So like for you, it sounds to me as if like you guided yourself there. Like, this is definitely me. This is all, like, I am this. Like, this is definitely what I could get down with. Like, I'm jiggy with this.
Yeah.
Whereas, and then you didn't really have too much external conflicts from anything or anyone to try to guide you off of it. Whereas what happens for a lot of people is they say they want to go and do something, but then they get maybe pressured from this angle, and someone says, don't do that, do this. And I think that is essentially what holds so many motherfucking people back, is they're going through that process of like the external pressure. So obviously for a lot of people, I think that the problem is that they're not following their heart, they're not following their desires and what they really want. And one of the things that I've seen just from studying your mastermind and just kind of seeing the kind of clients that you help, and one of the things that you're massive on, and this maybe you're already aware of this, I'm pretty sure you will be, but one of the things that I've seen from like a perspective is that you really do push that message out to your clients. Like, you get them to just lead with their fucking heart, like do you. So I just wanted to bring that out there, because I think that's hugely important, that you're standing for what you stand for and sharing that with your clients as well.
Yeah, like because like also my sister's like really, again, goes back to my sister. I feel like she has like been a huge catalyst of why I am the way I am, but she's really religious. And we grew up kind of religious, but my sister's really religious. She found God on her own. And I just watched someone literally like wait for answers, like wait, like it will come to me. I'm just waiting. And I was like, no, we create answers. We go and we strategize and we put a plan together and we create our reality. That is what happens. So that was also, you know, a huge pitchfork in the sand. Like, no, today's the day. I'm changing my life. I'm going to do it. I'm going to draw myself out. I'm going to say where I want to go. You know, I put together like little change funnels, and it's like, here I am. This is where I want to be. Where do I go in between to get that? And I think that also comes with Ironman, is like, okay, you know, you go through these stages, these progressions, and you finally get yourself there, but you only get yourself there by having a plan and then having your passion combining together.
And doing the fucking work. I mean, we've spoken on a few of these episodes now where we've had the conversation around the disciplines that it takes you in your fitness and health that actually create a lot of the changes you see in your business. Because when you look after yourself and you're disciplined, like yesterday I posted about doing 75 hard, right? Andy Frisella's 75 hard. Like, I'm in and I'm on phase 1. I don't give a fuck. Like, people said, that's too much of a jump, mate. You can't go from like this to this to this. But I'm like, no, I can and I will. Watch me do it.
Right.
So like, I think that, you know, I think to a lot of people it's going to be, I think that your story speaks volumes in terms of just where we've spoken to up till now, because you're very fucking passionate about what you do, and it's not being guided by anything else. Like, it's just all congruent to what you're about as a person.
Yeah.
And that is essentially what me and Perry say, is just your personal brand. That is you displaying your personal brands, your qualities, your attributes. You know, the things that you've gone through and been through have created the person you are today. And I'm interested to know, like, if someone was in a place that, you know, like they were maybe being influenced by an external, because we've spoken about this before, like those daily disciplines of what we do on a daily basis, the small details that really get us where we want to go, and how they can be transitioned into our business. Like, if someone is out there now and they're being influenced by something else, and they know they need to do these daily disciplines, they know they need to work on themselves and do the work, what advice would you give to those people that are out there now that are in that space?
To spend some more time by yourself. I think that like that was the huge thing for me, is like I just needed to be by myself and cut all the noise out, because like there's people that didn't want me to do Ironman. There's people that didn't want me to go back to school. Like, it was like, what are you doing? Like, get a fucking job. Like, hello. And spending some time with myself honestly made me build really thick skin. It made me realize who my true friends are, and just help me like stay on a path that with blinders up. So I would say that's the main thing, is just cut out all the negative fucking people in your life.
The white noise.
The white noise. Yeah. And like stick to one thing. Like a lot of people, they get information from here and information from there, and then they try to like combine it all together. Like you're not going to be successful. You have to just focus on one thing at a time. Great. Figure out the fitness thing for yourself. Good. You got it together. You got your body. Move on to now trying to make some money. Okay. Then you master that. Now let's master savings. Like you try to do all of them at the same fucking time. No, like it's not going to work for you.
Yeah. And that draws you back to the daily disciplines, isn't it? And being disciplined around just doing the small things that you need to do on a daily basis to move the needle, for sure. 100%.
Yeah.
This conversation has got me fired up to just fucking absolutely destroy 75 hard, because if I don't, I'm being a pussy, because now everybody knows.
So funny.
Morgs, do you think that it takes a certain level of self-confidence in order to follow your own voice and create your own path rather than being easily swayed by other people's voices?
Definitely. But I think that like confidence can be built. And I think that confidence comes from challenging yourself, and no one's challenging themselves, and AKA no one's changing, because change creates confidence, because you realize how fucking powerful you actually can be, and you are. And that's so, yeah, in short, yeah.
Do you know, I was just on a call with someone before this episode, and that was very much a problem for him, and it's relevant to so many other fit pros out there. He has like real deep internal blockers around his own confidence, and I was saying about the importance of showing up for yourself on a daily basis, like showing up for yourself, not for anyone else, but just for you. Just show up for you. And he said, but how does that translate into something actionable that I can do for my business? And do you know what I fucking told him? Document. Stop being, don't be overwhelmed or anxious or whatever it is, or if you had this fear of judgment around creating content because an industry professional might shoot you down, or someone might say it's wrong, or whatever it is. Just remove all of that shit and just document your fucking journey. So one thing I want to jump into now is, you said you documented your Ironman journey, right? The 365 days. Do you think that had a huge influence on your business? Because obviously you didn't, technically you had, well, did you have, you kind of were like online, right? So do you think that there's a correlation between you documenting that and the successes that you've had now? Is there a correlation, do you think?
I think I learned how to be really authentic online during that experience. So pretty much I had an Instagram account. It was me and my partners at the time. I'm not with that partner anymore. Now it's his. So we kind of like broke up with the account, and I gave him the account, and I started all over again. So some people have still been following me, like obviously since that point. So they've seen everything that's gone on. But I think the real thing that I realized was like, holy shit, people really connect to just like the snot coming out of my nose, like the authentic Morgan who's like mid-cycling being like, fuck, I'm so tired. Like I want to go home and eat food. Like just even the most random stuff. I was like, people actually really like watching this stuff. And it's funny because like, I think about myself. I love documentaries. I love reality TV. I love just like watching people. Like I could just watch someone literally in their room do nothing, and I'd find it fascinating. So like, I was like, this is a thing. Like this is really what gets people to trust you online. So like, if I could translate that into like a business, because I knew I had influence. Ironman, documenting it, made me realize that I can have influence online if I just like you said, document all the stuff. And I was like, okay, but how do I like monetize? Not in sponsorships, because I had sponsorships for Ironman stock, whatever, like worked a few athletic wear brands, but like not to the caliber of what I have now. And yeah, I always tell people like stop, like, yeah, get a photo shoot done just to like elevate like your authority. But in terms of like honestly, people relate to the selfies better and like the in the moment stuff and the raw, just like the stories and you just being super authentic, and the posts that are so scary to write and you're like, your heart is like, I don't know if I'm ready to tell the world this, is like always the one that gets you the proper tribe cultivated around you, and everyone else that doesn't understand, like, fuck them. They're not your true people anyways. If they don't understand that thing that's making your heart burn, that's like you've been holding in for so long, like, fuck that.
Get rid of them. Yeah.
Get rid of them.
They don't need to be there if they don't want to be.
Yeah.
100%. And I think this is the thing about building confidence is anybody listening to this, like, we make it sound quite easy, you know, when we say this stuff, like, just document and write that post and do this thing. But like I was trying to explain to this guy on the call earlier, like, that is the reason why it sounds simple is because it is simple.
It is.
Like, I'm not going to try and make it more complex. Just say what it is that you feel at the time and write it, or do the video that you feel at the time and do it. Like, the only thing you really need to overcome is just the initial bit of fear around doing it. And once you've pressed live button, or you've posted, or you've published it, like, that shit then is all, you know, that's going to just let it happen. And it's usually for the positive, right? When we do that.
I just don't think people really understand or feel like they don't truly believe in the concept of, like, your right tribe will cultivate around you. Like, if you truly are being yourself, like, I lost all of my friends, all of them. I was like, literally had like 3 friends. And then the third friend one time when I was on vacation was like, I fucking hate who you are online. Like, I'm never speaking to you again. And I was like, whoa, like, now I have no friends. Like, I literally have 2 friends. But
wow.
Like, then it was like, you know what, like, I think it's a blessing in disguise, and like, now I can like really cultivate this amazing girl tribe around me and redefine what friendship means to me, and redefine like having 2 friends. I feel like like 2 friends that like genuinely know everything about me, like, you know, forever. I have 2 of those. Okay, I used to have like 12, and when I was like being half Morgan, and then I became full Morgan, and everyone left. I had 2, and that's pretty fucking, that just proves, first of all, how many people are hanging around with other people who, like, for other reasons, like, that aren't, you know, it's just like for social reasons or whatever. And then I also like made room to, one, live truly in my passion. Like, I don't need 600 friends anymore at all. Like, I'm so fucking busy and so passionate about what I do that I don't even have time to like I don't want to let people down. Like, I don't want to say like, hey, like, let's be best friends, and like me not be a best friend. You know what I mean? So I'm on a wave and I'm riding this like roller coaster, and that's it. Like, I just learned to like kind of redefine like what, I don't know, when you just start living your true authentic self, you don't care anymore.
Yeah. And I think that this whole subject we're talking about now, right, is this space of time that it takes to build and cultivate a following, because it does take time, especially when you're starting from fucking nothing. And especially if you're like, this bit of what we're about to talk about is for the online fit pro right now that may have just transitioned online, or the offline trainer that's just transitioning online. Like, know this, it takes time to cultivate a fucking following that are loyal to you. Like, it takes time. And I think that the problem is there's 2 types of people. Person number 1, or trainer number 1, that give it a go, and then they start posting a bit consistently, but their content doesn't get much traction, and it takes them a bit time. And then before they know it, they're like, oh, it's fucking not working. No one's really following my messages, or no one's doing this. And then they give up short. So they don't really give it the full length that it requires or needs. And then you've got the other person who just never fucking gets started in the first place. Like, it just does not want to do it in the first place because they've got all this fear around doing it in the first place. What advice would you give to them, Morgs, based on your story?
I would say that you have to step into like your true self, which I know like we've been saying a lot, but like check in with yourself like every single day and make sure that your message is like truly what you actually want to share. Because I feel like a lot of the time people they're just copying other people. Like, okay, there's this is like the online training world. It's like everybody here is not getting success. You have to go and be on the outside. Like, you have to be the 1%. So like, stop copying everybody right here and doing everything that everyone else is doing, and try to be that 1%. And that 1% is actually you just stepping into your true power. And if you are the guy who's like, I don't know, I can't really say guy, but like if you were the girl that like loves to just like is weird, and she likes to like game a lot, but like also likes to dance a lot, and then is also like a beast in the gym, like be that person online. Like that's okay. You know, if you're the like, I don't know, introverted person who likes to also play chess, like talk about it online, like just be exactly who you are, and people are going to fall in love with that. One, it's going to be so much easier for you to show up every single day. And two, like there's going to be this transition point where like people in your life, your neighbors, your family, your old friends are going to start unfollowing you. That's going to happen. It will happen. I can promise you that. But then you're going to find the other girl who likes to play chess and fucking work out. And then it's going to be like, damn, I love this girl. And I just like met a new person for my community. Like this is amazing. And that's really like what it's about. It's about sitting alone and creating your own table and inviting people to your table rather than sitting at a table and trying to fit in. You know, it's like, don't sit at a dinner table where you don't feel comfortable. And if you have to leave and make your own dinner table, then fucking do that. And that's what it's like online. It's like people need to just step into their power and realize that your online presence is you and yours, and just tap into yourself.
Yeah, and you know, we talk a lot about the gap between perception and identity online, because essentially personal branding is you trying to close that gap as much as possible, so people just know you for you, right?
Yeah.
And the problem is that a lot of people, they do a lot of stuff online, like they show their highlight reel, or they show just their workouts, or just their food, or you know, just their 5 a.m. mornings, even though they also get up at 7 o'clock in the morning some mornings. You know, they show this like highlight reel, but that is part of the problem as to why you're finding it difficult to grow your brand, because this is building a perception in people's minds of who you are, what you do, and how you do things. The perception of who you are is different to your identity. Therefore, you can never actually show up as your true powerful self, because everyone thinks that you're this when really you're this, and you need to close that gap of fucking perception and identity. You need to merge the lines and be like, and this means, as an actionable step, telling more stories about yourself, documenting about yourself, like doing those things like Morgan said,
right.
Like telling people the things that you don't really feel comfortable telling people, because that is ultimately going to close the gap between our perception and identity, and people will know you and follow you for you, right? Not something that they've built up in their mind as to who you are or what you do, and you're like this mystical person that's now formed in their mind as being this type of person. So I think like
100%.
yeah, I think that people just need to really, I think again, the topic of this has been a lot around just people finding their power, you know, and just fucking stepping into it. And I think there's no better guest to talk about how to do that than yourself, because it could have gone the opposite way for you, you know, like you could have just modeled a similar mindset to your sister, for example. And like that was a possibility, right? That was a possibility. That's another realm. But you didn't. You decided to step into your power and follow your passion and do what you wanted to do. So I think that there's no better guest to talk about this and keep it fresh in people's minds than yourself.
Yeah, 100%.
To add on to that, I remember when I first went on to transition from being an in-person PT, moved online, and I was looking at all these other online fitness coaches, right? And I was looking at how they were presenting themselves and how they were doing things. And then me being a complete rookie and being a little bit insecure and not knowing exactly who I was like, well, it makes sense to try and be like these guys, because they visually, whether they were or not, it's a different story, they visually looked successful. So I was like, well, if I want to be a successful online PT, I need to go down this route. So this guy acts that way. Maybe I should kind of be like that. He goes live every day. Maybe I should do a little bit like that. And then people like watching this, you know, a lot of these guys know. And then when I decided to share my video about being sexually abused, I was like, well, that's got nothing to do with my online fitness game. So first of all, why should I share that? Because that's got nothing to do with the business. So that's going to throw people off. Nobody knows like about me. I don't swear online, but I swear all the time in person. So I was like, if somebody saw a video, like a Big Brother, like a reality TV, and they saw me in life, but then they would they be like, is that Perry? That's not Perry. Because the Perry that we know online, he's polite. He wouldn't say boo to a goose. He wouldn't swear. And he's very sort of to himself. I'm like, well, that's got to change. And that's when I realized that I needed to create my own path. And then that was actually how I felt in line with who I was, and I became proper aligned to my purpose because I stepped in the shoes of who I was meant to be, not into the shoes of somebody else, which is what all three of us are all about, right? Leading with our stories, leading with our purpose, with our heart, and being who we truly are, rather than being the next Joe on the street or the next online PT, because we're not them. We haven't got the same story.
This is the positioning part, and like what you said a minute ago was fucking on point. If I could remember the exact sentence, which I probably can't, but it was about being the 1% outside of the realm of people.
That's powerful.
Do you know, like, honestly, I'm going to get very vulnerable here now because this is what it's about. Me and Perry struggled with that big fucking time. When it comes to storytelling for Fit Pros, we were like, no one else is doing it. It's fucking stupid. Why would anyone want to, like, let's just do what everyone else does, system, sales, and scaling, because we know how to do that too. And we started to for a long time, just for like the first couple of months, we were trying to do something that we thought that was the path to take. So we were sharing wins. And do you know how out of alignment sharing a fucking win is for us? Because it's not to us, it's not. Yeah, it's not. Have you not noticed that we just rarely ever share wins? We do get them.
Yeah.
But have you noticed now? I'm saying it like, oh yeah, motherfuckers, these guys don't actually do that very often.
Yeah.
That's because it's not in alignment to our values. So one of our values inside our mastermind is be impact driven, not income driven. Because if you're an income driven type of person, then you just won't sit well with our type of mastermind. Like if you're impact driven and you want to go out in the world and share your message and share your story and lead with your fucking story, then yes, come to us. But that transition, honest to God, it fucked us both.
It was tough, man.
It was very hard. Like the first couple of months, we were doubting ourselves constantly, wondering whether we should do this or that. We were really struggling. And eventually, but one thing that stayed consistent throughout that whole time was the fact that we knew, both of us knew, that the path we should be taking. So we were following this one, going down this road, but what stayed consistent was in our minds, and when we spoke to each other, this was the path we needed to go down. So we were constantly torn between the two. And a lot of Fit Pros, this is exactly what we're drawing this point back to. That 1%, do you know how much our business has grown since we just decided that was the path we were going to take? Like, fuck it. There will be some people out there that are income driven, and guess what? They're not for us then. That's fine, because there's a bunch of people that are impact driven. See, so like, this is actually very relevant to some of the stages that we've been in business, because we knew that to get where we wanted to go, it meant following a path that no one else was doing. So we've now stepped into that 1%, you know, because when someone comes to us, we help them lead with their story and amplify their personal brand. But we don't do it from a case of like, the first thing on a client's mind should not be clients and sales. In our vision and our values, it's you need to get your confidence level boosted through the roof, and the way you're going to do that, because that's going to enable you to go and do everything, like get the sales, get the leads, consistently market, share your message, like it's going to give you all of that stuff if you're internally confident about yourself and the position you're in. And that's why we start with the story. So we dive into our client's story, and then we differentiate their story from their fit story, because they're two different things. One of them is not very relevant to their ideal client, and the other one is massively relevant to their ideal client. And what we've developed over the course of a few months is this, and we've actually used in our own brands, but we didn't realize, was that we've managed to create our own system, which is called the Fit Story. So when a client comes to us, they have this story that they've lived and all of this stuff. And a lot of the times, the reason why they can't go out and get clients and make the wins and earn the money is because they're telling themselves their own bullshit story. There's something going on in their own mind.
Yeah.
They're stuck in their story and they're unable to get out of it. So if a client comes to us, we help them rewrite that internal story to help them, give them confidence that they can go out and create the story that they want, like the next chapter of that story, and whatever that looks like, clients, money, fucking fulfillment, like whatever it looks like to them, we'll help them facilitate that. So I just wanted to make that clear. Like we were that one, we were that those people that were in this bubble doing what everyone else was doing, but didn't feel aligned and needed to step outside.
Yeah. I remember when you guys or maybe I feel like there was a shift. It was like, we're fucking going for it. And if you're in our way, get out. And I was like, go for it.
Yeah. And I mean, the funny thing is that people don't think that happens even at like when you've got a business, a successful business, you're doing what you're doing. People don't think that we're challenged in the same way. Now, one thing that I said on this call earlier was we all experience those challenges, at different,
yeah.
like, just because you got more money or more clients or whatever does not mean that these thoughts and feelings just don't ever touch you. Like, they still come in. I've found that people, like, you need to develop resiliency against it. You need to develop a fucking thick skin around that stuff. Otherwise you will never get to where you want to get to.
100%. Yeah. It's like people think like people are just like fearless. It's like, no, everyone has fear. Fear is not like it just evaporates once you hit your 10K month or you like get 1,000 followers. Like, fear is always there no matter how big you are. It's just if you learn how to you just deal with it better, I guess.
Yeah. And you know what? Because we've just brought this up, what is one of your fears that you'll go, like, either have recently gone through in your business or that you're still experiencing? Like, is there one that you could talk to us about that would make this conversation more contextual for the listeners? Or
fears.
You like, I eat them for breakfast, Matt. I don't even give a fuck. What, I put that in my fucking Cheerios, bro. What?
Fears. I feel like sometimes I'm a little bit fearful of just like, again, losing all balance. Like how I did with Ironman, like going down that route of just like totally, but I'm aware of it, so I don't let it happen. So I would say that, and then maybe I'm a little bit fearful of just like scaling and like what's actually going to happen next. You know, there's like I've gotten a lot of responsibility put on me all of a sudden. I'm like I've always loved like leadership, but I feel like it's kind of like to a new level now, and I'm like, hope I can fulfill this title, I guess, like as my ebooks grow and as like obviously my business coaching grows and more opportunities are coming. I'm like, maybe I need to be a little bit more professional. I don't know. And like you guys said, it's like all about staying true to who you are. So sometimes like people will be like, you swear way too much, or like don't do this and drive, or blah blah. I'm just like, okay, thank you, right, correct. I'm like, people are watching me. Sometimes I forget people are watching me, right? And then like you do something in your life and then it's like you get this huge amount of flack and you're like, wait, but I'm a normal human. Like, don't you have sympathy for me? Like, so maybe that is a little bit scary sometimes. Just kind of
I know that you're doing a speaking event soon, right?
Oh yeah, I'm that.
And I've been kind of watching your stories around that. And is that not scary? Like you're gonna be?
Yeah, I'm so scared. I'm so scared for that. But I'm like butterfly scared. Like I'm like gonna do it, and it'll be fine. But
I think you're gonna fucking really rock it, and then you're just gonna like enjoy it so much that I think, and maybe I'm wrong, and maybe we can monitor it over the next few months, but I think that you're gonna find your feet in that in public speaking. I just got a feeling.
Really?
I just got a feeling that you're just gonna fucking boss it, and then because there's a character trait, isn't it?
You've got a big personality.
Yeah,
you'll be able to rock it.
It's a big personality, and it's also a character trait you have. You have a character trait of doing shit that is uncomfortable, doesn't make you feel great at the time, but you're going to do it the fuck anyway, and you're going to do it, in the most important part, to the best of your possible ability. So like, it wasn't, I'm going to take part in Ironman and just, you know, like I'll just take part in it. And no, it was like, I'm going to fucking win. Like, I'm going to put that fucking line. So like, this is why I'm saying to you now that I think that you'll probably find your feet in it and you'll probably rock it, because if you're going to do anything, you seem like the type of person that if you're going to do something, you're going to do it. Like, it's not going to be a half-assed effort. It's not going to be like, I'm a bit in, I'm a bit out. It's like, I'm going to fucking do this. So like, I don't see that it's probably going to be any different for public speaking. I reckon that you're going to fucking rock it. We'll see. I might be wrong. We might be wrong. But
yeah.
I think it's going to be done 100%. So like, let's try and wrap back round to your story, right? Because one thing that I want to really try and dive into is this point. Like, we're up to now the point of you finished Ironman, you've gone to uni, you've got your fucking degree, right? And you come out the other end of that. What happens next? How does Stronger Bodies happen? How does your mastermind happen? How does all of those things come to fruition from being in that place?
Okay, so because I was a designer and I did user experience design, I really learned. So I got a corporate job as a user experience designer at this tech company in Toronto. It was awesome. I'm so glad to finally get my break. I spent a long time trying to look for jobs. No one was hiring me. Finally got hired. Then I kind of realized, hey, like I'm actually kind of good at designing, like because user experience design is split into two things. User research, which is having a lot of empathy for humans and understanding their like weird behaviors of like how they use the internet. Not weird, but like how they use the internet. So like you as a person could be like, no, this is right. But in user experience design, it's like no longer what you feel. It's like you have to listen to the audience because they're telling you the checkout button makes more sense there. No matter how fucking right you think you are, like 95% of people are clicking there and looking there for the checkout button. So you have to design the checkout button there, even if it ruins the entire flow, design, and look of your site. So I guess I learned that. I don't even know where that was going. That was just a random little tangent. So I started to learn that I could design stuff online like really easily. And I was like, maybe I'll just try to design an ebook. And my goal was to help 10 women like reach their body goal dreams, because I was an Ironman. I did cardio all the time. I looked at the worst shape of my life during that process. Like I was really fluffy and like I'm very athletically built like my whole life, but I was like athletic with like fluff and I hated the look. I just like, I don't feel comfortable in this. It's just like this cardio shit is not working for my body type. I'm someone who like lifts a dumbbell and it's like just little muscle pops up like the next day. So like me running all the time, it just wasn't doing anything for me. Learn strength training was like, I'm so obsessed with this. I got to teach women that strength training is the way. I heard about everyone doing it online, but at that point it was like still kind of like, I don't know. I mean, I just wasn't around a lot. I had all these misconceptions about weight training too. So I was like, I want to make this like really approachable ebook that like looked the part, felt the part. It convinced a lot of normal ass women to like go in the gym and be beasts. And I knew that it took a level of like a level of really good branding to do that, because we're convinced by branding online, obviously, right? And I was like becoming kind of an expert at it when I was at work. So I was like, okay, like let's do this. And then I made it. I put my heart and soul into it. It was like, and like literally it was like for 10 people. I was like potentially for 10 people. I didn't have a big audience, like 1,000 followers. But what made it so successful was the hustle and grind that I put into it when I didn't know it was going to be anything yet. So like, that's why I tell my clients, like, you have to go 110% in and just trust the process. Like, you just have to trust the process, because like, that was an example of me just like I wasn't getting paid. I wasn't doing anything. I was just like hustling every single day to like make this vision come alive. And there was no chance. There was no way that I knew that it was going to be successful or not. Like, it was just like, I'm going to try really, 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 really hard. I'm going to love the journey. And I'm going to have fun during it, because if I'm not having fun, well, then the whole thing's going to be a huge waste. And I released it. And I remember I got like maybe 10 sales the first day. And I was like over the moon, like, oh my God, like passive income. This is crazy. And then that's kind of where that all took off, because then testimonials started to come in. People started to tell their friends. The community grew bigger and bigger and bigger. And yeah, now we're up to like 900 women. It's been like over a little over a year, like a year and a month. And it's the most magical thing that I've ever done. So that's kind of how the fitness aspect of my business started. So just slowly building that while I was at work. And like my business got to a point where I was making the same amount of money in passive income with my ebooks as I was at my corporate job. So I think it was like 5K, a little under 5K a month I was bringing in from my ebooks. And I was like, holy shit, I need to leave my corporate job. I think like, it's like, I love my job. I loved my job, but I was like, I think in order for me to like continue to put this amount of effort in and to really nurture all the people that were coming into my world, I had to quit. Cause I was like, I really care about these girls' journeys and I want them to get their bodies that they dream of. And they were messaging me all the time on my phone, and I was like hiding in the bathroom at work, you know, and it just it just got to a point where I had to have the conversation with my boss. And luckily, they're like the best company ever. They totally supported the decision of me being an entrepreneur. And I left. And then the sales totally dropped the next month. This is me not understanding online. I thought, passive income. I'm like, woo, like 5K for the rest of my life. This is awesome. Like, no, that's not how it works. You have high months, you have low months. This was my first low month. I quit, like, no sales, like maybe like $800 in sales. I'm like, what? Like, what the fuck do I do now? That's when I learned about high ticket fitness coaching. Wow. I'm like, okay, maybe I'll try that. So like hacked it together, made 10K the next month. And then again and again for a few months. And then that's kind of when I learned, like, other people started to notice, like, holy shit, like, she just quit her job, because I would document. So I documented a video of me saying, I quit my job and I'm going on this new journey and I don't know what's going to happen. It's like me sitting on the grass, and I'm like, yeah, like, I always bring people along for the good and the bad. And so then the next month when I'm like, I made 10K, people were like, what? You know, like, who, how, what's going on? And then they just, I think that's why people really trust me, because they're like, there's that girl, she's the corporate girl, now she's quitting, now she's making 10K, this is a real story, what? Hold on. And then they just kind of, that initial, those initial few clients that we all need, I got those for my business coaching. So that's what really helped me.
Wow. Because I've seen, like, just watching your stories, you do put a lot into the Stronger Bodies ebook. Because I watched kind of as you were launching Strong Bodies 2.0, right? The second one.
Yeah.
And I watched your stories of how, like, you just fucking hustled to get that done, and just to a really good standard. I'm interested to know, this is like, because I want to try and give the audience something to take away for a point of where they're at. That's relevant. So a lot of the times we actually say to people, like, if you want to make money online, then don't waste your fucking time building an ebook, right? Make sure that you monetize high ticket coaching first.
Yeah.
Like, do the high ticket thing, because if you can bring in, like, you'll aim to go, if you want to go full time online, or if you even want to make some decent substantial money, you're going to, like, if you haven't got good authority, influence and positioning already, then you're going to struggle to sell something passively. So you always want to go down the route of, like, high ticket. Now, obviously, you switch that flow up on the motherfuckers. So you like, I'm going to do this. So at the time, when you first done your ebook, like, did you have a lot of followers on Instagram, or was you pretty much starting from, like, nothing? Or how does that translate into making 5K? Like,
yeah. So so I had 1,000 followers, but they're like true fucking followers. Before I released my ebook, like, I wondered who was even interested in the ebook. And I think I got like 50 people, which was like a ton at the time, like, being like, I'm interested. And I think because I was an Ironman before, that helped with the initial, like, when I have clients and they have had a background either in bodybuilding or a sport, or they're just like, and have been really active about fitness on their Instagram, they usually do super, super well with whatever they decide to do, ebook or high ticket coaching. When you're starting from complete scratch and, like, you're just like, hey, the normal, like, you're just Shelly who, like, has never even showed up as, like, anything fitness, and then decide to go down the fitness route, you got to give yourself a little bit of time, like 6 months probably, to really reach that point where people are, like, crawling and throwing their credit card at you.
But I think this is important, because what you're touching on now is credibility. What you had was credibility. So you didn't necessarily have, like, this is the thing. This is why I think bodybuilding done so much for me. Because when I first ever started out, I done my bodybuilding show. Then I quit my job, which is just before we broke up and lost our house and everything. But that initial month when I quit my job, I was like, dude, I am in sick fucking shape. Everybody knows I've just done a competition. I look fucking great. I reckon I can sell some diet plans. And I shit you not, I was able to sell, like, I told Kerry, like, I think I was able to sell something like 26 diet plans. At the time, I was, like, doing diet plans, which is something that I would not say to people to pursue now. But at the time, I done diet plans. I sold them for £50 a pop. And literally in the first 4 weeks, I sold like 26 of those motherfuckers. And I was like, I'm actually making money from this. But that was because all right, because I know this to be true, it was because I had built the credibility in myself by doing the bodybuilding show. So people were like, they actually were like, oh, Matt's actually done some shit now. So like Matt has actually got on stage. He did that in his pants. We all saw him because he posted photos of himself getting into shape and he documented a bit of his journey. Like, we get that. So I say, even to this day, that bit of credibility that I gained from doing something for myself in my fitness journey gave me that initial credibility that I needed to even say to people, hey, look, you should trust me. You should check out this program that I'm doing. It gave me that. So, and that's essentially what you're saying now. Like, you already had built some credibility. You already had some authority. You're already relatively influential to your audience. And that's why the process was easier for you to sell those ebooks, because the audience was already warmed up to who you are and kind of you had that credibility. So I think that maybe that's the nugget of advice, right? Would be if someone's out there now thinking they can just start an online business from scratch, maybe go fucking try something that gives you some credibility. Yeah.
No, totally. No, 100%. I totally agree with that. And like, yeah, it doesn't have to be like some massive event. Like, you know what I mean? Like building.
That's it. Book Ryan, man.
Yeah.
Do it right now.
It just needs, yeah, it's like, you don't have to have you need to understand how to build that authority online, and that can be done in so many different ways. Like, it doesn't have to be doing like your own like a huge challenge, which I actually would personally highly recommend, because I do think it actually builds character at the same time. But yeah, there are other ways to, like, I guess, fast track building authority and credibility online, if it's not going to be the super organic way, which I think at the end of the day is how people are the most successful, is the true story. Like, I have fucking hustled and promoted my life for like many years now online. So it's like, some people look at me and they're like, things come easy to you. I'm like, go look back, you know.
But tag them in the post.
Yeah.
Tag them in an old one, boost the algorithm. Like, nah, bitch, look.
Yeah.
Yeah, fucking hell. Do you want to just give like one or two of those nuggets to the audience, like one or two of those ways to build that authority organically?
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. I think that, first of all, I think people need to understand who they're talking to, obviously. So like, really, really understand like who it is, like who's your dream client and who's also marketable in your space. And then you really truly understand like what they're struggling with. Like, I always use the example of like when you're writing your captions. So say someone is struggling with like finances and you write this post, top 5 ways to save money. Like, the person who's struggling with finances, that's not what they're thinking about. They're laying in bed being like, how the fuck do I afford my child's education? Like, starting a post talking like that is like way more just relatable, and it's, you know, there's so much more passion behind it. And so always try to just figure out what those pain points are and like dive deeper, though. Like, embody yourself as that guy sitting in bed being like, I can't afford to pay for my child's education. How do I feel? How do I convey this in a storytelling caption? So that's the first thing. And then the second thing, I think, is, so being relatable is the first thing. Try to be really relatable to people. And if you're not relatable to people, then you're not going to be able to sell anything. And then the second thing is like just education. So I'm a huge fan of, like, for my fitness professionals, I'll talk just specifically about them. I love when they go above and beyond in their like doing carousel videos, you know? So either like, this is how you do bicep curls right, this is how you do it wrong. Like big X on the first page, swipe, big check mark on the second page. Not only is it really good for the like Instagram algorithm, because Instagram knows how long you're actually watching videos for. So like, you may not get a lot of likes, but like there's watch time that Instagram sees as well. So your post will be boosted for the other people, like for your audience tomorrow or the next day after that. So I'm a huge fan of education and, like, again, being a little bit different than what everyone else is doing. Like, get inspired by what's actually working. I always suggest my clients to go to the explore page on Instagram and just literally see like what is if that could load, like what is here, like what is trending for you, and literally go take a picture and just say like, okay, like how do I replicate this? What is it about this photo that's sticking out to me? Like, what do I like? You know, and sometimes we don't actually look at all the details. Like this, like you should be like, it's just a girl standing by a fence, but it's not. Like she's edited the photo. She has like a different type of blue in the background. She's wearing an outfit that's the same color, both top and bottom. Like as little as like where her hand is positioned to like what she's wearing and or how her hair is done. Like people, you don't just go to the gym and like mid-workout grab a photo and then it's going to be good. Like there's effort and there's like aesthetics and everything that's involved in taking good quality photos and Instagram posts that are going to actually
do well,
aid, and help you build authority. Like the way I take my Instagram photos, like the day I take my Instagram photos for like fitness, let's say back in the day, was a completely different time in the day when I'd actually go smash my workout. Like when I smash my workout, I don't have a face full of makeup on. Like I go to the gym, I have my makeup on, I have my hair done, I have like all my outfits, I'm clean, I'm good. And then I take all my photos quick, bulk them, and then I would go back and like smash the gym and maybe like record some stories when I go do that. But like, because two things. One, you still need that time for you to smash it out and clear your head. But then you also need the really good content.
I saw that.
You also need the really good content.
You got these two things and you need this one. That was fucking brilliant. You know, just before we wrap it up, and it's like we haven't really been able to dive super deep into your story, so one day we're going to get you back on to do like a part 2. But one thing I just want to like attach to what you just said is the point number 1 was around like understanding their pain points, their challenges, etc. Right now, this is again why it's so important for you as an online trainer to experience this stuff, because let's say for example you go through this physical transformation yourself and you understand where your lows were, where your highs were, what was driving you, what was motivating you, how you felt about it at the time, the situations, the circumstances you were in. Like you understand all that stuff to detail. That gives you so much more of a place to write and create content from when you've experienced it, you felt it yourself. So like, we obviously may work slightly differently to you and James Moody and other people around how they model their programs. But one of the things we do is when we're diving into someone's story, into their fit story, we see where relatability takes place between them and the character they were then and their ideal client today. So we draw parallels between their story and the story that their ideal client's going through. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So kind of like that's definitely one of the top things that I think really does help people is when they look at their life, look at their experiences, what they've been through, what their challenges were as a fucking someone who was in their fitness journey, getting very clear on those specific challenges and pain points and what it felt like can be massively beneficial to creating content for your ideal client. So
I love that.
Yeah, just giving some sick fucking value on this one. We appreciate you, Morgs. We're very conscious of time, and we know that we probably won't be able to get you booked back on soon. But there's one question that I would like to ask is, and this is normally Perry's question. So sorry, bro.
You go for it, mate.
Where do you see yourself in like 6 months' time? What has happened in Morgan's life in like 6 months? And again, there's no right or wrong answer to this, is there? It's just where you kind of see yourself going.
I want to get some of my clients multiple 6 figures. So that's definitely a goal for me as a coach. Like, I think someone asked me yesterday, they're like, oh, going for $1 million? I'm like, nope, just trying to get my clients multiple 6 figures. Like, I don't care really about, I feel like money flows when you're having fun and you're in your true alignment, money just comes to you. And I that's why I really like what you guys were saying about your whole concept of your business, which I didn't even fucking put 2 and 2 together, that you guys never even do the wins. It's so funny. But it's awesome. It's a really good way, because I feel that way. I feel kind of in alignment. Like I get on the sales calls and I'm just like, look, like I know I promote a lot about money and everything that everyone's making, but like truly, yeah, there's so much more to this. Like, this is going to fucking change your life, and I can guarantee it. But so I totally align with what you guys were saying there. And that's really fucking scary. Like, I would not be brave enough to be outside of that and jump in that 1%. So good for you guys.
Thank you.
I think so. I'm going to be in my new house, so I'm really excited. I think I'm going to have a little bit more free time, and just really enjoying life. Maybe doing a few more like speaking engagements, and just making like big impact with the girls that and guys that I currently work with. So like diving deeper into their life, having more reoccurring clients, and really like being a continuing mentor for some of them, because like that's really like at the end of the day, like, you know, what I love is when they have massive wins. That's like, that is true fulfillment for me. So just continuing that, and I would say having a little bit more free time and building my relationship with my partner on like a deeper level. Right now we're like total both like entrepreneurs, like we're on our journeys, like we work hard all day. We see each other like once or twice a week, and that's it. And he's like my high school sweetheart. We broke up for 6 years and then got back together. So he's totally like,
that's so nice.
That is cute, isn't it?
Yeah. So he's totally my soulmate, but we just like I'm so excited to move in and like have our house together and stuff. So
amazing. And you know, the cool thing about that question is that it's a funny one, because people are constant, especially entrepreneurs, we're constantly looking for change, and we're constantly adapting and evolving and getting better. So it's funny when we ask that question, there's such a broad spectrum of answers, and for the most part, like someone asked me that a couple months back. It's like, bro, what do you expect to be doing in like a year's time? Like, what does that vision look like for you? And I was like, bro, in all honesty, I have no fucking clue. Like, I kind of get where I know I want to go, but in like my mind just races at 1,000 miles an hour when it comes to goals and visions. So like, do I know for sure like where I'm gonna be at? No. Like, I don't. I have goals and measurables that I want to achieve, but for the most part, I just have this thing called vision expansion, which is where if you have a vision, just remain yours for the rest of your forever. But visionary expansion is where it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and you just never really know where we're gonna fucking end up. We might speak to Morgan in like 3-6 months time, and you could be somewhere completely different, you know. And that's the beautiful thing about entrepreneurship and personal development, I think.
100%. No, I totally agree.
Well, look, it has been an absolute pleasure to have you here with us today. Like I said, we would 100% love to have you back and to dive into a little bit more of your backstory, a bit more of your story. And what would be really cool is if after these speaking events, you can come back and tell us if you rocked it or not.
Yeah.
Let's see if my intuition is right.
Yeah, it was actually so fun. This was awesome to connect with you guys. Like, yeah, I like what you guys are doing. I think it's really cool. And like, to my point before of like, I never even put 2 and 2 together that you guys weren't like super income driven with your clients. And I think that's really cool. I feel like that's something when you guys were saying that, I was like, oh my God, I so totally connect. And I'm way too fucking fearful to ever not like, it's like fat loss and fitness. It's like, it goes together. They like fat loss, give them the fat loss, then they get into the program and then give them what they want to hear. And like the fact that you're just like kind of not giving them what they want to hear right off the bat is like really fucking scary. Like that's really cool. And it's cool that you guys like broke the mold a bit too, and like are finding your true people. I can imagine they're your dream clients, like, you know.
Honestly, it's been like, we worked with so when we've done the Impact Academy previously, because it's all now the Fit Story Academy, the Fit Story community, like it's all around the Fit Story. But even before that, like we had a bunch of clients in our last mastermind, and honestly, like not all of them were dream clients, and it's because we were not really 100% sure on kind of the angle we were trying to take. And now we just feel so we're just readied up on this. Like, it just makes sense to us. And this is the thing, like when people listen to these episodes and like, oh my God, they've got like this Your Fit Story thing, and they've got this and this, and they've got their mastermind, and they've got clients on board. Like, yeah. And that came at a cost of having that period of time with nothing, with no reactions, with no comments about what we were doing, with no engagement on what we were doing. Like, it came with that. That was the price we paid. We were willing to stick it out and stay true to our vision and stay true to our values to really get where we want to go. And we're still in the process of building that and growing it. And part of that is having amazing guests like yourself on to come and share some of their story with the audience. So we just appreciate you so much for that.
Massively.
When did you guys get into business together? Like, when was this whole thing? Like, were you guys on your own before?
Yeah. So we both actually worked within the personal branding space prior to this, and we both had online fitness businesses prior to this. So that's essentially how we, grew our businesses. Essentially, was separately, and then the collaboration kind of came off the bat. It was weird.
Well, you came into my podcast, didn't you?
Yeah, it was story. It was weird. Like, I could see Perry doing some sick stuff. Like, his content was rocking, all storytelling as well. Like, he was big and sharing his message around storytelling and his sexual abuse and stuff like that. And then my story with my brother murdering somebody and having to go through these crazy fucking times. And I was doing a lot of storytelling content over here, and we kind of saw each other online. And for ages, like months, we would like each other's stuff, but we never reached out. And then one day, like, I just thought, I'm just going to fucking like holler this guy up in his inbox. Like, yo, what's going on, man? And literally within a week, I was booked on his podcast. I shared my story on his podcast. Within like another week, he came into my free community to deliver some value on storytelling. And the relationship just built organically before we knew.
And now we're married, right?
And now we are married. Yeah, we've got two kids. But it's thank you for asking that. Because it really has been like just a crazy journey. This last I would say November through to now has been, well, the last couple months, November, December, January, February, March, April, they were tough because we were really trying to just solidify our message, and
wow.
But we done did it, and we're focused on what we want to create for the fitness industry, and we have this incredible program that we're working on long term, which would be the Your Fit Story program, where essentially we take people like yourself, fitness business mentors, and we help you craft out your fit story. So the essential parts that make your story completely relevant to your ideal market, exactly who you want to target. And we actually then would fly out our resident videographer to film, to actually film your fit story, and then have that displayed as an asset for your business for marketing. So we've got like a lot of plans that we want to create, and it just starts from these small stepping stones, guys. Like anyone listening to this.
Is it coaching plus? Is it coaching plus this, or is it like you guys are going to become a video production company?
No.
Like,
so we have a resident videographer who will take over that. But essentially what we do is we use our coaching method to create your fit story with you. We then create a storyboard creation that we send to our videographer. He then contacts the client, goes through the storyboard creation, makes sure that they've got all the right props, the right locations, whatever they need in order to create as simple a process as possible from when we fly them out. And then it will just be like a day or two's filming to create the fit story. And then we have actually a launch strategy on our minds around YouTube, keeping everything on the video platform. So it'd be like a 90-second fit story video that really draws in your audience through powerful storytelling, and then some sort of CTA at the end, and it will all be on a video platform. So we're working on some big shit more. But again, like
cool.
Thank you. The thing for the audience is just to know that these are just like steps that we have to take, and it's uncomfortable, and we're sitting here as business mentors, and I'm sure you feel the same. Like, there are days that are uncomfortable, and you just got to push through them.
Wow, guys, it's so cool. It's really, really awesome. And it's like so nice to see people like getting uncomfortable, because like that's really going to pay off at the end of it all. Like, I feel like business, especially business mentors, they get so comfortable. Like, it's just like they find their system and they're like, cool, true. So I really connected to everything when you guys were like, get out of my fucking lane. We're doing something different here. I was like, this is sick. Like, I totally 100% support it. I think it will resonate. And the thing is that right now, or like back then, I guess, when it wasn't like blowing up, like that's the hardest part, because no one's cheering you on and you have to be your own cheerleader. And then now, like once you have all the YouTube videos up, people are gonna be like, whoa, like fly me out. And you're gonna be like, you weren't there for me when I was going through but I'll have you on it.
it's this whole entrepreneur game. It's just such a fucking blessing. Like, I think anyone that's in entrepreneurship really can just value the experience, like just
enjoy the struggle,
itself.
Enjoy the hard times,
man.
right?
Yeah, 100% take value in that, man. Morgan, thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Your Fit Story TV. This has been a fucking blessed episode to have you on. Finally, we booked you, we got you, and we're just super excited to get this pumped out. So guys, if you're watching this now and you resonate to Morgan's story at all, in any way found value in this episode, where can they come and find you to like follow you and come and check out what you do?
So you can find me on Instagram. I'm at Morgs Eliz, MorgsEliz, or you can look up Stronger Bodies on Google. Number 1 on there.
Google's the answer for everything.
Yeah.
Google's the answer for everything, exactly. And then we can just talk from there. Slide into my DMs. I'd love to get to know you.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, and thanks for everybody for watching this episode of Your Fit Story TV. Remember, our goal, our mission is to provide valuable insights into how people like Morgan have grown their business, and done everything they've done in their life. And hopefully through this episode, you've managed to find that there is some relatability to some of that. So if you've watched this, please just hit the button below and subscribe to this channel, because then you'll get updates on when we are bringing out new episodes with new guests. Other than that, I've been Matthew Beveridge, Perry Power. Morgan, thank you.
Peace out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye. Bye.